So client administration. We are discussing about the client administration. So client administration means it's not only for just creating the client and log into the newly created client also. In that we have the types of client copies also available here. So using the SEC4, we can create the client creation of new client. We can do it here. So sale for this one, sale or BD54, we can use it for the logical system creation. Logical systems creation, we can use it using the sale or BD54. So apart from that, we also discussed about the local client copy, SCCN, L for local client copy. So then SCC9, remote client copy, then SCC3 for the client copy logs, we can check it out. Then SCC, so here we discussed about the SCC8 for client export. We can do it. SCC7, then client import, we can perform it. Client export and client import. Then here in this transaction course, we discussed about the RG10 and RG11 for the profile parameter changes. In our SAP system, if you want to do any changes about the profiles and parameters, we can use the RG10 and RG11. System settings, if we want to do the system configurations and settings, RG10, RG11, we have to use for the increase the configuration of the parameters and etc. Right? Suppose in a mobile phone, how we will use the settings to change the increase the resolutions and all those things. Here also we can use the so RG10 and RG11 we can use it here, right? Profiles and parameters concept. So this is also we discussed in the in our concept here, profiles and parameters. The profiles contains the parameters. So profiles are the two types: instance profile, default profile. If the instances are two instances, ASCS instances and SAP applicant server instances, then you will get the two profiles here. ASCS specific related parameters are in the ASCS profile. Application server specific profiles are in the application parameters here. Right? Profiles and parameters are there here. So these things we can check it out, profiles and parameters. Then along with this one, we also discussed about the SM59 RFC connection creation. Creation of the RFC connection to the respective systems. Respective system means if the target also SAP, then above connection. If the target is not SAP, target is like a one HTTP sites, then HTTPS sites. Then in that case, external connections we can use it. In SM59, we can use the SM59. We can see the connection types here, right? Connection types, external connections, you can use it here, HTTP connections. The internal system, internal between the application server, it will use the internal connections and logical connections, workflows. So those things will be logical connections, internal. If we are using any workflow, that will use the logical connections. So if the target is the third party, some Documentum, Oracle, some other connections, then we can use the TCP IP connections. TCP IP connections, we can use it here. So like that, the multiple connections, we can use it. Multiple so connections, types of connections, we can use it here. So here, why this topic we discussed is here for the remote client copy, we require the RFC destination to be established. So that is the reason the connectivity between the two servers, we have to use the remote connections. Connectivity between the two servers, we have to use the connectivity between the two servers, we have to use the remote connections, right? So that is the target also SAP to transfer the data connection is required, right? From my mobile to your mobile, connection is required. Then only I can transfer the data. Same as like here, without connection, we cannot transfer the data here, right? So that is the main important thing of the RFC connection creation here, right? This is we discussed it. Then after that, so after that we performed the remote client copy, one system to another system, one system client to another system client here. So client copies are pull mechanisms. Pull mechanisms. Suppose like example, this is the one system, this is the one system here. Then suppose like this is the source. This is the source, like suppose like NW1. This is the ECD. So if you need the data to ECD system, so then you need to log into the newly created client, establish the RFC destinations to the NW1 to establish the RFC destination. Then you can go to the SCC9, then you can pull the data from the NW1 to ECD, which means you don't need to log into the source system here. Only in which system you require the data, you need to log into the target system. This is the source, this is the target. You need to log into the target system. You need to pull the data, right? Fill the data here. So our client copies are like a pull mechanisms, not the push mechanisms, pull mechanisms. When you go to the shopping mall, there is a pull and push of the door, right? Pull into your, right? Pushing means pushing away from you, right? So that is the pull and push mechanisms. So that is the pull and push mechanisms. So here client copies are comes under the pull mechanisms. So suppose if you require the data to the NW1, then you need to log into the NW1 system, newly created client, then establish the RFC connection from NW1 to ECC. Then we can pull the data from the source system here. No need to log into the source system here. No need to log into the source system here. That is called the pull mechanisms, right? So that is the one thing here. That is the one thing here. We can do it here, right? It is called the pull and push mechanisms here, right? So here, so we are also, we know here there is a, so client copy exports and imports. What does it mean by exports and import? So same kind of remote client copy only, the export import concept like a exporting the data to OS level, one of the file systems, then after that importing to the our target system here, exporting and importing to the here. So this is called the export. Using the SCC8, we can do the exports. Then using the SCC7, we can do the import method here, export and import method here. So for export and import method, we required the, so OS level one file system here. That file system is called the trans directory. Why? Because the next topic is our trans directory. So here this trans directory is should be mounted between the systems. Between the system, this trans directory should be mounted here. USR SAP SID. Then only the exports and imports are possible. Exports and imports are possible here, right? So go to log into the NW1, just click on the export, that will be exported to the under the USR SAP trans directory in the form of flow files and data files. And then we can do the import to the our target system here. So, sir, but remote client copy also will perform the same thing, right? Why we have to use the export import method, right? So remote client copy also kind of a export and import. So remote client copy is a direct transfer. This is the safer side, right? Why? Because we are directly transferring the data from source to target. We are directly transferring the data here. That is there here. But here export import, first you are doing the exports, then after that you have to do the import. This is a two-way mechanism, lengthy procedure, right? Then instead of that export import method, we can use the remote client copy, right? So if you think here, so remote client copy is remotely copy the entire data from source to target. So straightforward mechanism, you no need to do anything. Straightforward, establish the RFC connection, you can do it here. So you are only person, this is Hyderabad and Bangalore. You are only person, you are only person from transferring the data from or handovering the data from Hyderabad to Bangalore. You are only person, right? You are only picking up, you are only person handovering in the target side. If everything you are only doing here, straightforward, which means a remote client copy, right? So, but here you are not person. So here you are exporting to in middle some of the layer, like suppose like in Hyderabad to Bangalore, Hyderabad to Bangalore, in middle we have the Jedcherla, something like that. You are exporting to the Jedcherla, from there here to, so from Kurnool, so from here to here, some other person will do the delivery, right? Some other person will give you the delivery here. That is called the export and import method. That is the export and import method here. That is called the export and import method here, right? So here two-way mechanism. So but here you need to wait until you come to the export, then you have to finish it. But sir, both are same only. From which cases we have to use the export import method, and which cases we have to use the remote client copy here, right? So in case of your network bandwidth, why? Because here entire in the network level you are transferring the data. Network bandwidth is very low and the data size is the more than 1 TB, then you have to use the more than 1 TB and it's very far, then in that case you can use the export import method. So everything is good, then we can use the remote client copy. So here SCC8, SCC8 is the transaction code here. Then go to the SCC8, then select the which profile you want, which user profile you want to use it. Then what is the target system here? So here the mandatory thing is here the target connect system also should be connected in the target system also should be connected in the remote connection here in the RFC destination target groups you have to create. Our next topic is like a RFC connection only. So this is linked to the that connection here. Then if you use it here, that will be created as some files here 68 60 some, it will create as some co-files and data files will be created here, right? Co-files and data files will be created. So clients cross client data, client specific data, it will be created here. You can go to the SEC3, right? So here, just to go to the exports here, here you will see the exports are processing here. Exports are processing here. The exporting the data is getting processing here. It is processing. You can see it is processing status here. So exports are processing here. Exporting to the where? Local file system. Local file system means under USR SAP trans here. Under USR SAP trans here under the USR SAP trans, your files are processing here under the USR SAP trans directory co-files. So your data is getting processed here. Your data is getting processed here. So once it is exported, your data will get processed. Data will come to here in the trans directory here. So trans directory, the data will come to in this trans directory here. Okay. So that is the co-files and data files here. Once everything is done, it will be exported here. Right. We can see the logs in the SCC3. We can also cancel it in middle and we can also resume where it got stopped here. So that is the client copy exports here. Once all the exports are done clearly, then we can log into the target system here. So we can log into the target system. So then we can do the imports. Same SCC7, we can use it here. We can log into the target system. Then so then you can use the SCC7. So we can do the imports here. But still client copy, the source client copy is still active. So we have to wait till completion of that one here. The only thing is here, once completely exported, then only we have to do the imports to the target, right? It is called the export and import mechanism. So one of the advantages, even though if it is late, but it's a very more secure process here. So because fully exported in middle, then you are doing the fully import. In case of import is get cancelled, you can pick up from the source. You can pick up from the file system. You no need to go to the source again, export is not required. But here, if the import is fails, again you need to run it from the source again, right? So there is some connection will be initiated for the source connection here. That is the one thing here, right? That is the export and import mechanism here. So apart from the once it is export is done, let me see here. No, still processing exports. So once export done, we can import this stuff. So there is a one more transaction code here that is called the SCC1. That is called the client transport. Normally developers will use this code to perform the client transport. So what does it mean by client transport? Means here, suppose here you have a new client is there here. For example, you have the new client is there. So in the new client, so suppose if you, so there is a transport request within the system, we have that. So multiple transport requests, multiple clients are there here. So you are developing, you are creating a one object, you are creating one transport request. So, but that required the data in the other client also. Not only entire client copy, only the specific object you required the data in other client. Then in this case, you can use the SCC1 is the client copy, client transport, source client, which client transport you require. Then this one. Then what is the transport request number? Means in the request number, so you have the some data. You will add the some data here in that case. So you can use this one. Then just execute as a job here. Then the TR will be imported. The client transport will be imported to the then another client here, another client here. That will be done. That is called the client transport. That is called the client transport here. Right? This is like a this is like a the developed objects. This is like a transferring the developed objects from so one client to another client within the system. Within the system here. That's why we use the client transports here. Client transport, we use it here. So let's see the either the export is completed or not. It's ended with errors. So then in the target client, if you use the SCC7, so here we can, whatever the transport request number we exported, so those transport request number we can import it. We can do the import option here. SCC7 import, export and import. Same request number 68. So there is a request number will be created here that we can do the import option here. That we can do the imports here. That we can perform it here. Export and import option here in the systems. Right? That is what we can do it in the systems here. See here, you chosen as a dialog mode. In the dialog mode, your screen is freezed here. Here bottom, we can see what is copying and all the information. It is not running in the background mode. In the background mode, it is running in the dialog mode. See, 66, 70 data formatting.
Yeah, client transport is related to the deployment of one source to deploy down to test environment.
One system to not another system, same system within the client. Same
So
system.
mean to say that development to test environment, or
No,
how do you segregate?
within the development only, you have the triple
Mhm.
zero, you have developed the one object, then you want to move that object to the 900 client, then within the client only we can do it. That is the client transport. This will be
So
used by
in between, if it is successful, but when you notice that some of the objects when you are transporting, right? So some of the objects has been missed. How do you compare and how do you uh, uh, transfer those missing objects? Do you have
so
that?
your duty, that is the developer's responsibility, not our basis responsibility. Actually, this we won't use this one. So only developer will compare, will segregate, they will do the proper testing before they move for the quality development and quality system. In the development only they will perform the one round of testing, unit testing or something they will perform it. In one client, they will do the development. in another client, they will do the one round of testing. If it is successful, then only they will release to the quality. The quality, they will fully test it. So maybe UAT testing, some kind of sign-offs, they will perform it. Then they will move to the production. So the development itself, so something is missing, they will add into that request. Suppose like here we want you no need to release the transport request here. So here you no need to release the transport request automatically. So that will be done. So we no need to release the transport request. Just you see in other client what is missing. Then so just you can add that missing objects to the same TR, same transport request in SCC1, same transport request you can add it. Same whatever the transport request you choose here, add the same transport request to the here. Then again you can move to the again you can pull from the source. With whatever the source you have, just you can pull from the source. Missing things we have to add in the task list. In our transport administration, that will be covered. In that time, those things we have to add in the, we have to include in the task list here. So something is missing, then they will go to the again development. They will add the missing object to the this request. Again, they will test it. This kind of things they will perform it. So which means in the development, they have more than one or more than one client. So why? Because one client they will do the developments, another client they will perform the testing what you developed here. Then they will move to the so real quality system. That way they will come to know what exactly happening and everything is fine or not. Then they will move for the production here. That things will happen. Some customers they will choose the different some customers they will use the so different systems they will make it here instead of two clients they will create a separate client here. That is what. Okay, so this is the client. So that's we can perform it here. If you perform in the dialog mode, so what will happen in the dialog mode? Suppose you initiated the system in the dialog mode here. Then what happened in the dialog mode? In the dialog mode, so system got freezed. Your session will get freezed in the dialog mode. So that's the reason we can use a so here yeah it is exported. Then we can use a background mode only here in the dialog mode. So your screen will be freezed and it will create the some performance issues in the system. Let me see, are there any long running jobs in the system? As part of our day-to-day activity, we need to check the are there any long running jobs also. Sometimes these jobs will create the some performance issues. So some batch thing is running, it's not the long running. So 33 seconds back it is started here. So this will complete. So that's why. So no long running in the system. Are there any dumps in the system as part of the daily monitoring here? Today only one runtime error here. So yesterday 11 runtime errors are there. Objects not assigned here. So there is a program zero object reference. Okay, that is fine. So this about the client administration related transactional codes. There is a one more transactional code also there for the client that is called the dangerous transactional code SCC5, the client deletion. So if you perform the client deletion, entire data will be gone. Entire data will be gone here. Suppose like if you like to delete something here, so if you use the SCC file, then entire client will be deleted here, right? Without asking anything. So just delete the client, entire your 800, whatever the client you are going to delete, all the data will be deleted here, right? So this is one of the all the data, whatever the data you have, all the data deleted. So that is the one of the dangerous transaction code I mean to say. So we should not delete anything in the systems. That is the one thing here. If you run it in the background mode, the background mode that will run it here. Right? So client deletion. Client creation also is there. Client deletion also is there. In SEC4, we discussed about the client settings also. Client settings. Settings of the client. So either open, close. So that is about the client administration part here. So remote client copy, we can extensively testing in the once the transport during the transport administration time. Why? Because that time we will come to know why we have the trans directory, how the two system, how can we integrate, how can we connect to the between two systems here. Via RFC, that is fine, but transport administration also there is a concept here, which means whatever the object you developed here, those object we can move to the quality system. Sir, this my client also, client copy also same, right? Client copy is the entire data which is there in the client. All the data we are transferring to the here, which means when you are transferring from here to here, so whatever the data is there here, all the data will be deleted, and whatever the data is there here. No, I don't want to delete the data. I want just to add the insert the entry. New entry should be inserted. So from here to here, the new insertion will happen here. So that's what we have to do it as part of the transport administration part, right? That is the our next one of the big topic. Before that, we have some small subtopics are there here. Those things we have to cover it here, right? Suppose example, SEC4, we can change the client to open and the client to close. Client to open means, so anybody can do the changes in the client, right? If you close the client, no one cannot perform, right? So in the development, it should be open. Why? Because it's a developer system. So changes have to perform. In the quality production system, it should be closed status here. The next one is the SE03. It is the system modifiable option here. If you go to the SE03, here we can perform the system modification option here. Go to the here system change option here. Here we can change the system status to the modifiable and not modifiable. We put the not modifiable, so there also no, they cannot perform any changes related to the objects or anything here. If the system is modifiable status, so they can perform the changes in the system here. So here, if the people wants to open the system means we can open the system. Also, the client setting also we can open which client settings we want to open. We can also open the client settings also. That is also we can perform it here. That is also we can perform in the systems here. System and client both we can open it, right? So then only they can, it's open. If it is the no changes are allowed, client is closed status. Sometimes we may get the multiple requests from the our functional and development team stating that I basically please open the client. Then in this case, you need to open the client, open changes are allowed. Then and also you need to so you need to open the system settings also to modifiable. Please close the client means you need to close the client and save it. And here also, then we have to go to which client they have asked us to open, then change the status to the no changes are allowed, no changes are allowed. So we can do that one. That is also, we can perform it. Okay, that is the client open, client close, system open, system close here. So there is a one more small transaction code. So SM02, SM02, system message. You can put the system message here. So which means suppose something you are doing in the system that's required the restart, right? So then what you can do, you can go to the SM02 transaction code. So here you can create a one message to the system saying that saying that. So normally we will get the maintenance notifications from the banks and everything. So dear all, so system is undergoing to the maintenance activities from this time to this time, right? So system will not be, otherwise some people will write like system will not be available. So normally we will get from the so banking systems, right? Some other systems we will get it out, right? So available system not available between from from date to date they will mention, right? From date to date some date they will mention here, right? Sorry for the inconvenience, something like that they will mention. and they will send the message to the all the users here. So then whoever already in the system, they will get this message, system message, something like that here. Whoever already in the system. Suppose if I open my other system transaction, so whoever already in the system, they will get the message here. So like that, they will get the message here, right? So who are logged to the system initially itself only, they will get the message. Suppose example, I'm trying to log in with the system. Suppose like here, 100 client. Let's take the 100. You log into the system. After you log in, immediately you will get the message saying that, so system will not be available during this time. So from day to day. So which means system will going to down. Like that, we are putting the one message to the systems. So this kind of things also we can keep it here, right? So that others are available. So system is not available, so that they cannot log in for the system. Here also, when you are doing the planning to do the restarts or stop and start, what you can do, you can put a system message, give the 10 to 15 minutes notice advance, so that, so if anyone is there, they will come to know system is going to restart and they will log off. So if you do the quick reboot, what will happen to whoever already there in the system? Suppose like if AL08, whoever already there in the system, they logged out forcefully. Who are see the many people are there doing the transactions here, right? They all will be disconnected from the systems. So that things will happen. So that is the reason. So whenever you are performing any activity, so please inform to group or inform to the people so that they won't log into the systems. And that is what we have to do it in the best practice in the organization. So why? Because it will impact others as well, right? So that is the reason. Okay. So this is about the client copies. Like that, we have some other transaction codes and many things are there, small things. So tomorrow onwards, we will discuss about those things. Then we can discuss about the transport administration and the other topics also we'll discuss. Okay. So this is about the client administration related transaction codes, export and import, remote client copy, local, deletion, logs, and everything here, right? So please practice all the client administration and the previous related topics as well, work process related topics. So tomorrow, Max, maybe we will discuss about the daily monitoring transaction codes, some performance related transaction codes, memory related transaction codes, tracing related transaction codes, and all those things, which are very useful in the day to day. So those things. Why? Because tomorrow in the interview point of they may ask you, suppose how to do the remote client copy, what is required to perform the remote client copy, RFC destination is required, right? So then, so how to create the connection from one system to another system? Can you please explain? We can go to the SM59 remote client remote connection. There we can establish the connection, can provide the host name and port number, instance number, user ID, password, those details like that we can explain it. Okay. So like that they may ask you. So this Saturday we have a test. Okay, one assessment.